that you've been, after for many, many years developing this project internally at Riot.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to you to find, I mean, it's finally happening.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. It is terrifying as well. I mean, as you've been tracking in the closed beta, we've been learning tons of things as sort of players get hands-on with the game, but the reaction's been overwhelming. It's really awesome to see a lot of players really engaging and really enjoying the game. Probably more exciting than we ever thought it was going to be, in the sense where we never imagined this many people would actually be this interested. But we're super excited by the reception we've gotten so far. So it's been great.
Now we know June 2nd, it's coming out. Obviously you're going to kind of, sunset the beta, bring it back for launch here on June 2nd. You teased that there will be new content coming on June 2nd that sort of builds on the beta. We saw in the notes that were sent out that, you're going to potentially have some new agents, new maps. I think, you guys had originally talked about, sounded like 12 agents, 4 maps, 4 release. Like, can you give us a little bit of, I know there are lots of rumors out there about things that may or may not be happening in the near term. And obviously it's a live service game, so there'll be more things, coming online over time. But what can we expect that's going to be new on June 2nd when the servers light up again?
I mean, I'm waiting to find out too. It's like day by day right now.
Honestly, so originally we said there's going to be 12 agents, and we've actually shifted that back to 11 because one of them just didn't make the cut. Sometimes it'll be coming after, but sometimes we're just unable to do that. Is one of the complications of developing in this weird world that we live in right now. But the 11th agent that people are going to see on day one is definitely going to be an interesting one and a little spicy potentially. So we'll see how people react to it. And you've already seen a little bit of a preview of the map that's coming on day one in that little snippet of a CG there. It takes place on that map, but more details will come as we get closer to the launch. So.
Well, you said that people are like, is there a rift opening to somewhere? I mean, it's like, it feels like you guys are, the story is going to sort of, I think, live on here as the game evolves. But so sounds like at least a new agent and a new map for June 2nd, we feel confident about.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other content, like we'll have a pass in there, which will have a bunch of content. We'll have a bunch of new weapon skins coming out. A lot of content that players who have been in the closed beta or watching the closed beta haven't seen yet. So that'll be cool.
I will say if you've enjoyed the gun skins so far, you're going to be pretty happy with what we have coming in this launch package. It's going to be great.
One thing I know a lot of people are wondering about is also, game modes like team deathmatch, things like that over time, like what I'm sure it's all on the roadmap at some point, right? And like you ask people on Twitter and everyone, wants to know about the full length of when's it coming to consoles, this and that. And it's like, you're just getting through, I know, the initial launch here, but what is like your cadence of kind of updates? And I'm sure some of it will be based on community feedback, but like new game modes, is that something that's like near term, midterm, longer term? Like how do you sort of, plan out what it's going to look like post launch, at least initially?
So breaking news, the current plan is to have one additional mode at launch. And I will say that it is coming in pretty hot. So I'm saying this on this day, and the hope is that it will be there. It'll be there on launch day. But we're going to release that one with a beta tag on it because we didn't get to test it during the closed beta. I think we want to give ourselves some time to see how it goes before we call it official, like second mode. But there will be a second mode at launch.
Any sense of what type of mode we're going to get here?
I don't know. Do you want to talk about it, Joe? I don't know. No?
I'll mention a couple things, which is one of the things we were trying to get key on was like sort of having a shorter mode that you can play in between the sort of more high stress, longer competitive matches that you're playing. So that's sort of one of the key things that we're focusing with it. Now, I don't want to ruin the surprise. So, when players play it on day one, I'm sure they're going to really enjoy it.
All right. But shorter session experience.
It is not team deathmatch. Like, I think it's just fair to say that. Like, I know a lot of people are going to ask that. It's not team deathmatch. It doesn't mean we're not looking at that as an option down the line, but that will not be the second mode that we release.
No, I gotta say, I think the fact that the date is so soon is surprising in of itself. And I think some people would just be impressed if you were literally just, taking the closed beta and tagging it as like, here's the game. But the fact that you're, loading in significant new content here, with, new mode, new map, new agent is a lot of stuff. Like that's a surprising cadence, of all that coming out. Can you maybe talk about your roadmap of how you're thinking about kind of adding content, to the game over time? Like, you said June 2nd was always kind of, in your head as that's the date you wanted to hit. Do you have sort of the summer planned out already in terms of like, new things coming online? Like, how are you thinking about, adding stuff to the game over the next few months?
It's funny because like
Joe and I are looking at each other trying to figure out what we should talk about. We're just like,
exactly.
I feel him like, he's like, we're trying to read each other's minds.
We're literally looking at each other going like, what could we say here?
I'm like, trying to do like facial signals at him, like, what's okay?
Well, part of it is, I think you guys, I admire how open you've been with the community too. And like, I think people know that like these things evolve, right? Over time. Yeah. And like you said, like, you talked about 12. It's like, oh, we're only 11 already. And it's not about hitting the number. I think it's about hitting the quality bar and the experience that fans want. And, everyone, it's like when they get excited about a game like this, they just want more and more because they want to invest even more time into it.
I don't think I'm ready to commit to like a date of like when the next big content drop will be, because just committing to June 2nd was hard enough. Even today, committing to June 2nd is difficult. So, we delayed this announce as long as we possibly could to make sure we were completely ready. But I would say you can expect content. You can expect another content beat in the summer. And, we kind of joked internally about summer 2020 and like we ill-defined because we always knew it was June 2nd, which technically isn't summer. So I don't know that we're all that great with dates, but we're great at hitting our targets. And right now we definitely have a target that's during the summer that would bring some more content to the game.
I wanted to ask you about the beta experience for you guys, because building this in, quarantine, shipping it, I mean, having the success that you did, what surprised you the most about the kind of response to the beta overall? Like, I mean, you build these games in a little bit of an incubator inside of Riot, and obviously, play testing is a big part of it. But when you have that many folks experiencing the game, like what did you walk away? I mean, as this is kind of wrapping up now, as your biggest learnings from the closed beta?
There were a lot. I mean, our first surprise was how many people showed up. I mean, honestly, like I think we internally had kind of prepared ourselves. Like I remember we were having conversations about we'll be able to have healthy queues. Like we have enough players come in to keep our queue times low. That was literally our concern. And then almost immediately the concern became, how do we get all these players who want to try our game out, who have all this valuable feedback they want to give us that we absolutely need to prepare? How do we get them in? And then now we're in this situation where, a quick phone call to, our data center to get things set up is not as easy as it used to be. So I think it was kind of it was a perfect storm, but like in like the best and worst ways at the same time, because it was like, holy moly, everyone wants to play. This is awesome. I can't get them all in. What are we going to do? And so I think that was a really interesting and tricky part to navigate. Joe, you got something?
I think definitely one thing I've learned is there's a thing we take for granted. I think having worked on League previously, is this idea that you communicate with your audience, you go back and forth with them, and you talk about the things that you want to accomplish, the things that you might break, the things that you're attempting to do. And that's very natural for us to want to do, as developers at Riot. But what I found interacting with audiences is frequently they're surprised that we do that, especially audiences in this genre. And I really hope that they find value in that interaction that we have, because we're finding a lot of value in terms of actually being able to talk with them openly about things that come across in our game, things that happen, and getting information from them that helps us better improve the game. So I was just surprised at how much the players reacted to having that interaction with us, which is in a positive way, which has been great.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys have continued to build this everyone working from home. I mean, you guys probably haven't even seen each other in person in quite some time. I mean, what's it like developing this game in this way? Like, I think a lot of fans and gamers in general are like hopeful that it hasn't delayed games. Obviously, in your case, it hasn't, which is I think a tribute to the team and how quickly everyone pivoted. But like, what's it been like developing it kind of remotely? Like, has it slowed you down or no?
So I think it has slowed us down, but not in ways that have been like crippling. I think that there's an emotional cost to this. I think a lot of us, I'm definitely one of those people that I've shipped a bunch of games, and I'm used to running around the floor and like feeding off the energy of other people to know how we're doing. Like I can get a sense just from walking by someone's desk if we're okay, if we're off track. And I don't have that right now. None of us have that. We don't have those in-person kind of touch points where we can like see someone in the kitchen and ask a quick question or resolve a problem over lunch. Like we don't have that right now. So everything is more expensive to do from a communications perspective. What I will say is we called June 2nd as a team, not just like me as an EP or Riot, but we as a team, we called June 2nd a while ago as like the date we really, really wanted to hit. And this team has been waiting so long to get this game out the door and has been so excited for this moment that when we made our closed beta, when we hit that date and got that out and they saw the response and they saw a million things to fix that players found for us and helped us find, just watching them kind of like that spark in them at a time that could have been really demoralizing and like really hard, I think it reinvigorated them. I'm not going to say that it hasn't taken a toll. It's absolutely taken a toll. I feel it from them. I hear it from them. But if they didn't have this to look forward to, this moment, I don't know if it would have gone as well as it has. So I think they all probably thought I was crazy when I said we're still gonna target June 2nd. At no point did we say let's just move it down, or let's, it was like, no, let's hit it until we can't. And then I think they all rallied and I think they all did amazing. I know they're going to watch this. I think they all did an amazing job. I couldn't have asked for more in this situation, honestly.
Yeah, it's again a tribute to the team of what you guys were able to to put together. And as these live service games go, this is really only day one. And I know there's sort of so much that has to be built and tweaked with the community as you go on. In my Twitter feed, a lot of people wanted to talk about Vanguard and kind of understand that. And I know it's something that is probably a frequent question that you get about that. Maybe since this is a wide audience and you can talk a bit about it, like maybe just give us the philosophy of like anti-cheat, why that's important and what that does and why that's needed, and just give people kind of an explanation, because I think there's a lot of kind of like misinformation out there as well about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I think the most complicated thing about anti-cheat is people think, the most common misperception I would say I come across with anti-cheat is people think it's a one and done deal. Like you can create a wall that protects all cheats from coming in. But cheat creators are fairly sophisticated. They're pretty intelligent people, and so when challenged, they tend to iterate just like game developers do on the software that they're making. And so part of anti-cheat is creating a baseline that lets you continuously evolve your anti-cheat efforts on top of it. I would say our team is doing an excellent job staying on top of the problem and continuing to fight, but it's a long war we're going to be in as long as we're a service. And the best thing we can do is constantly stay vigilant and respond as fast as we possibly can. And we've learned to definitely do a lot more of that as we've gone along. Now, Vanguard as a specific anti-cheat solution is one we took that's slightly more aggressive than other solutions that exist, but it's because cheats these days can occur at almost any layer of programming inside of your machine, whether it be at the kernel level or the system basic level, or all the way up to a surface level. And so we want to make sure that we're creating a system that can prevent those cheats at every level from coming in and disrupting the game and disrupting the fairness of the game.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that, as you said, like in order to get at the cheater, you obviously have to go, right to the core sometimes, because that's how they get in. And it's, I know some people, have, they're precious about their machine and sort of like what access a game gets. But it sounds like one of those things where you said it's like you have to be a balance, right? Because it's like you want to keep it fair, but also you want people to feel like you're not invading them in some way.
Exactly, and we've done a lot of work to make sure that invasion is definitely not happening. We're not taking any data from their machine. We're just monitoring things that could be invasive to the game cycle. And so none. The actual anti-cheat system doesn't report actually anything back to us from the user's machine. It just simply is there to monitor for the purpose of the game. So
yeah, no, well, it's one of those things. It's a everyone cares so much because they're playing the game, and lots of people are installing it and playing it, and obviously, it's going to lead to, I think, some amazing, competitive moments, I think, throughout the summer as well, because everyone's hopefully on level playing ground.
I do think it's a controversial approach. I mean, we've definitely seen it, right? Like we're not blind to the conversations that are going on around it. We've been very transparent about it, and we've been very honest about it. And I think a lot of people have been questioning some of the articles we've put out, or the different talking points we've had around this. I would just say, like everything that we're publishing, we've been a very transparent team so far. We want to be really honest about the choices that we're making, and if you've educated yourself on those things, you've read those articles, and you're still uncomfortable, we will continue the conversation, and we will continue to work hard to earn people's trust. But we believe that this is the solution that helps us keep cheaters out of the game, which I think is what ultimately we really want, to keep this game really competitive. So but we understand. I mean, I empathize with people who feel uncomfortable with this. I hope that they'll come around to trusting that that what we're doing in a really safe way, and we're doing it for the good of the game.
Guys, thanks for joining us and talking so honestly and transparently with the community as you have been about your plans for the game. We'll see you online on June 2nd.